Russ, bro, I appreciate you coming on, man. I really do appreciate this, man. I'm excited.
Man, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
How much attention have you been paying to LSU, to football, to the NFL, the landscape of how the NFL is going, the landscape of how college football is with recruiting? How much attention have you been paying to that?
Well, I've been paying attention pretty close, especially with the new coaching, new coaching staff. Obviously the quarterback competition, and obviously I've never seen a quarterback, lose a quarterback battle, pull himself out of school and still get to keep all his money. So this is a pretty unique thing. Pretty
Hey,
unique thing.
that's it. That's where it's at. That's what I wanted to ask you. You've been a part of some quarterback battles, right? Now, obviously, you came in as the number one dual threat quarterback in the country. I don't think Les Miles really knew how he wanted to utilize you.
Broke his brain.
Yeah, yeah. You're before your time, I think. You know what I mean? You see all these quarterbacks now with Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, all these guys, and I think that you were probably a little bit before your time. I think now in the day and age you would have, thrived. What goes into a quarterback competition? How do you keep your mind right? How do you say, all right, I'm going to keep my eye on and focus on what I want to get done, and I want you to focus on me and not worry about what everybody else is doing?
Well, the thing about the quarterback battle is won in so many different ways. Obviously, one of the biggest things is you got to know the playbook. You got to know the playbook in and out. You got to know everybody's, position, everybody, adjustments, everything that goes into, every other position that, you control, being the lead man. Then the second part is, being able to kind of win a competition of who's going to lead the team. Winning the locker room, winning the trust of the coaching staff, winning the trust of the young receivers, the older receivers, your left tackle. I mean, just across the board, even the defense. You got to show them that, if the game is in your hands, you're going to get them through. So, I kind of realized that quickly. When I got to the school, man, obviously I had a lot of noise coming behind me, being such a highly recruited guy. But I realized quickly that Jordan Jefferson, man, with all due respect towards my talent and everything I brought to the table, I realized quickly it was his team, and I just knew that I can best help the team, doing a little bit of everything.
How do you win the team over? I know you said and we've talked about that on the show a lot, is how important it is to win the locker room and to win the trust of all the guys, and that's in any sport, right? Baseball, basketball, football. If you want to be a leader on the team, you have to win that over. How do you do that? Like, are there things that you need? Do you need to be there every day and win in sprints? Do you have to keep getting up after you getting your ass beat? Like, how do you win over the guys in the locker room?
I think it's a little bit of everything. You just kind of said it's a collection of victories. You can't get a team of 98, 120 guys at some point throughout training camp and throughout the season to really believe in you, just really just through one action, one moment. So it's being attentive, it's being consistent with the synergy, the energy put toward the leader, being a guy who just doesn't speak it, he lives it through his actions, and like I said, I watch guys do it, and the guys who did it effectively, the Tyrann Matthews, the Jordan Jeffersons, I would say a name like that, the Charles Scotts, what I'm saying, the Jared Lees, they did it by just being consistent with their daily approach. And like I said, everybody knows that, it's impossible to be perfect in an imperfect game. So, they'll take the bumps and the bruises, but as long as you're just consistent with who you are, man, guys will follow you.
You have the unique perspective of being able to come into a high-profile college program, being a high-profile recruit, playing well, being a difference maker on the team, and then going to NFL as an undrafted free agent, having to work your way through the special teams to earn your spot on the roster, and then carving out a role for you and playing 7 years in NFL, which is extremely hard to do because I think the lifespan of the average lifespan of an NFL athlete is what, 2.5, 3 years? And like, what's the difference between prepping for the college game and then prepping for the NFL game?
I think the biggest thing I learned, college is a lot of just passion, just pure just want. In college, man, it's usually the toughest, the team who wants it the most. That's why I say energy, stadiums, student sections, just a bunch of guys that just hungry. That makes a huge difference at the collegiate level. Once you get to the NFL and kind of the talent level, kind of levels, obviously, you paying guys, coaches, a lot of money to make the game a lot more complex at times than it should be. Once you get to professional level, it's more of you're a problem solver. You're being strategic. It's game planning. It's learning how to be a pro. It becomes less about just being the most, loudest, crunkest, most energy to who's the most prepared.
Yep.
Who had the best week of preparation. Who has the right person in the right place. So I think the one is passion. One is straight. Just chess, and you kind of get your love and hate with both of them.
So, I mean, you talked about getting on campus at LSU and Jordan Jefferson basically having a stranglehold on the quarterback job here. When you realized that you can help the team in other facets of the game and you had to tap into those abilities that you had, and you used that through your LSU career here, how did your LSU career and the things you had to find out about yourself here help you in the career that you ended up having in the league?
Man, that's a good question. So when I got to LSU, I came to LSU with a lot of hype. Obviously there was the hope that I can play the quarterback position and I can bring the excitement, and then I can kind of continue, what was kind of hot at that moment, that dual threat, athletic, skill, quarterback that can, be an extra guy have to be an extra guy accounted for on the field. And then kind of when it went from that, it kind of went to the Percy Harvin thing. Let's allow this guy to be the guy who touches the ball in, many different ways and, get him involved. And, just kind of never really, I just kind of never was able to get, my career going for different reasons, being that, we're going to establish the run. And I knew that going to the school. So, we're going to run the ball and we're going to block, and that's how we're going to beat people down. And then, like I said, our opportunities would come off of, establishing the run and getting open and, being consistent pass catcher. And I just think in throughout my journey, learning how to adapt while going through, having to compete with a young Odell Beckham, a young Jarvis Landry, a seasoned Ruben Roundel, a seasoned Brandon LaFell who's won a national championship.
Damn, y'all are nasty at the receiver position, huh?
Dude, throw the ball.
Right. We had quality depth, man. Like I said, mixture, really throughout my career. And like I said, I went from a guy, I can stop and start with the best of them. I can change the direction. I was quick. I was tough. But, catching a football is a skill that people just don't get overnight. So, I had to kind of adapt, to, really developing my ball skills throughout my college, being an SEC player. And it took me some time. And I just think, when you got young, skilled guys like a Odell, a Jarvis Landry behind you, sometimes time is the best thing for you,
right.
So it helped me, be able to adapt, while overcoming, just compete, stay true to the grind, stay consistent, work. And then, like I said, throughout that, having the skill set, having the talent, when I got to the NFL, special teams, that was my lifesaver, man. They gave me an opportunity to really develop and create a career for myself in the NFL.
Look, these two guys aren't going to have the same amount of, I guess, fanhood that I had, because you're the reason that I was the first person in my high school to ever even buy a laptop, because I wanted to watch your commitment live in school, because I knew that's when it was going to happen. So I just wanted to say, from my perspective, you mentioned all the things that made you great, and I was just wondering, look, I'm not trying to get into the belly of the beast here of what happened at quarterback, but did you ever feel like you had actually had an ample opportunity to be able to play that position at LSU, or was it more of as soon as you got there, you see the room, and I don't have a chance to win this thing over?
Well, I kind of, when I got to me being the recruit I knew every coaching staff was going to pretty much tell me whatever I wanted to hear just to get me there. And it was really only one coach that really just kind of was 100% real with me and told me pretty much he doesn't want me to play quarterback. And that was Nick Saban. He came to the school and he said, "Hey, Russell, I like you. I think you can be an All-American receiver. He said, I think you can be a top 10 pick as a defensive back. He says, he said, allow me to, he said, I think you can go to Oregon and play quarterback and win a Heisman. I mean, this is his exact words. And a young Russell Shepard didn't take that lightly. So, like I said, but after I got to the NFL and I seen, the DBs were my length. They were long guys. They were guys that played the quarterback position, like a Joe Hayden. They were guys that were aggressive. They were guys that can tackle. Like I said, my natural skill position was probably on the defensive side, once I kind of seen it, once I got to the NFL. But to backtrack, man, once I got to LSU, I seen Jordan Jefferson and I seen Jared Lee were kind of better than advertised. Both can spin the ball and both had pretty good grips on the locker room. So, it was kind of me. I went up to Coach Miles a few days before the Capital One Bowl. It was my freshman year. We were playing Penn State. And, I told Coach, man, I want to switch it up. I want to be, your Percy Harvin. I want to be a guy that touches the ball in multiple ways. And, I kind of, started the process of switching me. I think they were going to naturally gravitate towards it going into my sophomore year, knowing that I was just a year or two behind Jordan and Jefferson. But like I said, I kind of started that. And, once I said it, they didn't look back.
Well, and that's a credit to you being that self-aware and understanding the moment, understanding how you are to say, you know what, I think I'm better suited for my career, one, and for the team to go out there and, make a change and allow myself to be on the field more to help our team win.
I want to play.
Right. Like if I'm on the field, we're a better team. And that's a credit to you and how good of a person you are and how self-aware you are. But let's go back to the recruiting, right? Obviously, the recruiting game, when you came out, is a lot different than it is now. What are your thoughts on the portal and all? Like, obviously the NIL is what it is. Like, obviously, people want to say, oh, you would have made money this, that. Like, it's hard to go back and think like hypotheticals. But talking about the current landscape in the portal and NIL, what are your thoughts on how recruiting is going? And do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you wish that there was a way they can change it and make it, kind of regulate it?
Well, obviously, it was in the ball is in the court of the athletes now.
Right.
I mean, the student athletes, what I'm saying? So, I favor that. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a former student athlete. And, but obviously, seeing guys, kind of when you create opportunity in, new eras, new ways, new platforms, you kind of create new problems. And sometimes it takes time to see what those new problems, they're going to occur from these new lawless things we got going on. So, I think it's always good when you kind of, meet it in the middle and both sides are able to, benefit from it. As much as the NCAA is for young athletes, kids, young adults, it's still a business. And in order for it to run, it has to make sense on their end. And I think that's just something that I've come to accept and realize, being an entrepreneur and just being an adult, but at the same time, with all these thousands of number sevens at LSU Stadium and the number ones and the number this and number that, the number threes, I think these kids and these parents need to be compensated. So, right. Let me get a check from that. But to answer your question, man, I think it's beautiful. I'm happy that these players are getting kind of what they deserve, and I just hope that as things occur from this, negative things, that we just kind of we don't snatch it from these guys. We just kind of meet them in the middle and figure out how we just kind of everybody eat off this plate.
Before I get into what you're doing now, and I know you're a successful businessman, because that. For me, I want to get into that because I think that's important. I think football has shaped you to be able to do that. I've followed you a lot more closely than a lot of people probably outside of Louisiana because you were coming up. My cousin texted me before I got on the show, and he told me to tell you what's up. Jacob Karam, I know y'all came up together. Y'all recruited the same year. He's the best. I know. He said y'all went to dinner a few weeks ago. He told me to tell you what's up. And so I told him I would do that. He's good people over there, man. So Houston, they They make some good people.
The best personal injury lawyer in the state of Texas.
There we go. There we go. He's gonna listen.
Free advertisement, Jacob. Free advertisement.
Listen, I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna cut that and send it to him, and I hope he puts it on a commercial. Free advertisement. No, but you're a businessman now. You're an entrepreneur. You're doing a lot of really good things. Tell everybody what you're doing. I know a little bit about what you're doing, but I like to learn more about what are you doing, how'd you get started in it, and what made you want to get into the porta potty game.
Right. So, the backtrack, man, obviously, coming into the NFL, being an undrafted guy, a lot of my peers, the Eric Reeds, the Tyrann Matthew, soon to be Odell's, everybody, they was coming in and they was signing, signing bonus, $500,000, 1 point this, 2 point this. And, I knew quickly once I got my first signing bonus check, I knew I was going to have to figure some other shit out. Excuse my French.
No, it's okay. We can do that. We can do that on here.
All right. So, I got a $7,500 check. And after taxes, it was $4,200. And, I just realized from that point on, that was the last of my guarantees, until really, I signed another deal, So, from day one, man, I was just realizing I was just always trying to find out another stream of income. How can I do this? How can I make more money in the off season than I make it from football? How can I, just kind of just protect myself and my family? So my first year I started a trucking company, and it was Shep Boys, dump trucking company. And we transported, right. My family got about 30 years of experience in, logistics, being, transporting raw goods, materials, sand, gravel, dirt, you name it, that's simple, that's raw, we transport it. So I knew that was something that I could do. But after about 4 years of doing that, man, I knew, I had other opportunities. I knew I was coming into a contract year. Throughout my whole really career, my first 4 years, I was a special team guy. And I developed to have, one of the better, I developed to be one of the better special team guys in the NFL. So Vincent Jackson, rest in peace to the big homie. He tore his ACL my fourth year, which is my contract year, and it was his last year, his 12th year playing in the league. And really, it goes back to what I was telling you. Regardless what people think of you, just be consistent with who you are. Me being a special team guy, that means every week I was the scout team best receiver. You know what I'm saying? So, just day and day of being the Antonio Brown, the Julio Jones, just being the Odell Beckham, I was getting better. I was developing. I was making up for those years I didn't catch a lot of balls at LSU or in high school. And when that opportunity came, when Vincent Jackson hurt himself, my contract year, I had a career year, man. My talent was matching my tape. I was playing fast. I was looking confident. I had the prior kind of, history of being this highly recruited guy. So going into the offseason, I knew I was going to make some good money. So I kind of grandfathered the trucking company to my mom and dad so they can kind of, provide for themselves, create opportunity for them. And, they kind of had that for the rest of my career. And I kind of went on this information binge, and Mike, I just kind of was just looking at different companies. I was like, when I start my next thing, it's going to be something. It's going to be big. It's going to be something that I like, something I can do, post-football. And, man, I went through a laundry list of startups, failed, and just, from a commercial real estate developer, to a commercial fund, tech companies. My last venture I did, I wanted to be start a sports agency. I went to the combine. I met with the NFL. They loved it. I was, a few weeks away from, start to take my test. And, man, I just had to really, I was in Manhattan. And I was in Manhattan the night before trash with my wife. I was on IR with the Giants. It was my last year. And I was like, man, I'm my wife just wanted to get me out the house. She's like, let's get you out the house. Let's focus. Let's just look at something else. And, man, I got inspired by a sea of fucking trash. I was in Manhattan.
New York City, baby.
Yeah, man. I was in Manhattan. It was the night before trash, man. And we were leaving one of my favorite restaurants, Julon Club. And, man, I never seen that much trash in my life. And I knew having the experience in logistics and hauling, I knew somebody was making a lot of money hauling that trash off. So what I did, man, I came to the city the next morning because I had to see the doctor. and all the trash was gone. And from that day forward, man, I kind of went on from what I would say December 2019. I started doing my research, and you fast forward in the middle of COVID, August 3rd, 2020. I got Shep Boys up and running, and fast forward all the way to now, 2022. We are the fastest growing waste startup in the state of Texas. We've been approached 3 times to be acquired, and we're rental providers of portable toilets, hand wash stations, waste tanks, water tanks, luxury restroom trailers, as well as haulers of human waste. People
Damn.
shitting and pissing every day.
That fires me up, dude.
And that's never going to stop.
Never
either.
going to stop. That has to happen every single day. That has to happen. Dude, that is awesome. That's inspiring because that is something that I've obviously always aspired to be. No matter how long I played in baseball, like I knew that I wasn't going to end. Like I've always had that type of mindset. So to hear it from you and to see it, because you never know when you're going to get inspired, how you're going to get inspired, and to be able to say, hey, I'm going to put my mind on something and fail on a few things before that and keep pushing and be able to do it, man, that fires me up. I'm happy for you. I'm pumped for you. And that's pretty awesome.
Shep,
man.
talk about, I think it was super powerful what you just talked about, how that signing bonus you got was the last guarantee, and you recognize that at a very, very, very early stage in your career. And to recognize that and then now start thinking about what can I do? How can I do it? Who were some guys you looked up to? Who were guys you sought out to talk to about advice and how to do things and where to go, and guys you talked to lead you in the right areas and the right mindset?
Right. So I had 2 really, kind of veteran mentors, early and really throughout my career. And the first one was Jason Avant. He was a 12-year NFL veteran. Played majority of his year with the Philadelphia Eagles. And, the first thing he told me, man, he said, Shep, you don't have as much money as you think. And that stuck with me because obviously we coming from, college beginnings, humble beginnings, being from urban areas, rural areas. It's just tough times. So, for that 4,500, that even though right now I'm laughing at it, but that was a big deal to me back in 2013, coming straight out of college. So, that stuck with me, and it just always reminded me to always put a little something away, to invest something, to save something, just to make it last. So that was really kind of one of the big pieces that he gave me, and it was just something simple. It was just I tell him all the time, it was that one phrase. And the other one was Vincent Jackson. Again, Vincent Jackson, obviously, a lot of people know he's passed away. But what a lot of people don't know is Vincent Jackson was a serial entrepreneur throughout his NFL, journey. I came with Vincent Jackson year 9 of his career when I first signed with Tampa back in 2013. And at that point, he had almost over 100 rental properties in the Tampa area, as well as he had several successful restaurants that are still operating to this day. And he was just, a very savvy. He's what we call the pros pro. So, having him throughout my first 4 years of my career, he was big, just giving me advice, telling me things to stay away from, kind of giving me the backdrop on just how to, have a successful on the field career and still be able to balance off the field, business. So, those 2 guys, man, I give all the credit to.
Hey, you mentioned obviously you're in the portal game. I thought that you would have noticed it from when your time at LSU going down the Tiger Walk whenever there's nobody really, there's people pissing all over the place, whatever. It's not in the Porter John.
Right.
So LSU needs some more. So if you want to bring your business down this way, we're more than welcome, brother, because I'm a walking felon every game day.
No. On a serious note, man, like I said, we're growing fast, man. We've been approached by a lot of, private equity firms. We've been approached by a lot of, private investors to expand and kind of go, from just a Houston company to, touch some several different markets. And, I'm in the early stages, man. I've been talking to my guy, Tyron Matthew. I've been talking to, Jarvis Landry. Been talking to a few other guys. And, man, I want to put together, a pretty nice thing, a nice sanitation company built and kind of, off the principles and morals of just being an old LSU athlete, student athlete. So, we're at the early stages of that, man. But, we look to go up there and we want to establish, a company, ran and built by, former athletes.
I love that.
Absolutely. And obviously you mentioned the LSU ties, and I wanted to ask you because, like I said, you were in the absolute encapsulation of when I was at the biggest part of like my LSU fanhood. I've had to drop it lately now that I'm in the media business, I guess. But I wanted to get your favorite LSU memory from your entire time at LSU, and what kind of sticks out to you that maybe people don't know.
Well, I'm a big Tyrann Mathieu fan.
Mm-hmm.
He's my favorite defensive player of all time, and he's younger than me. And he's somebody I consider. He's like a little brother to me. I got a lot of respect for his resilience and him overcoming a lot of hurdles that were self-inflicted, and also too just the nature of his environment. So, watching Tyrann Mathieu, the last year we seen him play, to the first 7 games, to have a turnover and slapping the ball out the air in West Virginia and catching the ball, and Kentucky stripping the ball out, this punt return. I mean, just everything that guy was able to do, man. That collection that year, every play he played that year, I believe it was back in 2010. 2010, 11.
Yep.
It was historical, man. So, I'll do it a disadvantage if I was to put one play on that. But man, that year that young man had, man, it was so unreal. And he did that before really social media.
Yep.
So I can only imagine, what would have been, what his experience would have been with today's climate.
No doubt. Russ, bro, I appreciate you. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on. It's always fun to kind of talk to you and catch up. But I'm gonna let you go, man. I'm extremely happy for you and excited for the future of your company. I love watching you. I've been keeping up with you. Hopefully we can get you back on during the season, talk more about football, more about kind of how the season's going on and some of the guys that are going out there, because 2 of your boys obviously are back in Louisiana playing for the Saints.
Yep.
With Tyrann and Jarvis. So maybe I'll
Jameis too. I'm a Jameis Winston fan.
Yeah, hey, I am too.
There we go.
I am too.
Hey, sing it. Yeah.
Jay Boo got me paid.
You're right.
There you go. Yeah.
He did. Hey, he's back there chucking that shit to you, man.
Hey, fellas, one thing about him, he's never going to stop throwing the football.
Yep.
He's never. So you always got a chance, and I just think that embodies the spirit of just the Who Dat Nation. So I'm excited for y'all, man. It's gonna be a big year for
and that's quarterback to quarterback.
I think he's a great fit here.
I think he is too. I think he's won. When you talk about the locker room, I think he's won the locker room over. I think he's got everybody on board.
Man, the hardest working man, and I'm not gonna hold y'all, but I have to say this is he is the hardest working professional that I've ever been around. You're talking about somebody that's in the building, at 4:30 in the morning, that leaves the building at 8, 9 o'clock. He's lifting like crazy. He's running like crazy. It don't look like he's lifting and running shit. You know what I'm saying? And just, man, just good spirited. Like the thing with him is he's been a champion at a very, at all levels. So he got a drive that's unmatched, man. But if you can tame that, and you can put the right talent around him, like I think they could potentially have, I mean, man, you got a special thing, man.
Yeah.
Really special.
I agree. I'm
No doubt.
looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun.
Oh, no, one more before you go. Have you talked to, I'd imagine you've talked to Jarvis, you've talked to Tyrann a little bit. How are they pretty much, how fired up are they for this Saints season to be able to kind of essentially come back home and play for the hometown Saints? From that's something that was pretty much not on the table under the Sean Payton era. Not throwing him under the bus, very successful head coach. But I'm saying to be able to kind of bring the Louisiana guys back in, it feels like it means a lot to them to be back.
Man, this is special, man. I mean, you're talking about, historically, two of the some of the greatest players to ever play high school, college. And like I said, you catching these guys on the back end of their career when they're at their prime, man. When all they want to do is win championships. These guys don't care. They've made all the money. They've had all the success and the fame. So I can say, this is special, man. Like I say, from a football standpoint, a guy who's not really from, the city,
No,
but they've adopted me. I mean, you can't get no more excited than this, man. You got the honey badger and you got the river rat.
I love that.
Let's get the Cyrus cat back.
Come on, man.
I love that. Hey,
man.
I'm fired up. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be because you have two of the most inspiring players on each side of the ball. So I cannot wait.
And you caught them both, like you said, right around like the beginning of the social media thing. So the hype of them grew and more than kind of what it ever had been before too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, fellas. I'm excited, man. Like I said, I'm coming to games just in general from the LSU vibe to what the Saints are doing. I just think the city's on fire. Look, last year they sent us a king cake because obviously we're in the sanitation business and porta potties are a huge, thing when it comes to, New Orleans Mardi Gras. And, every year they do a surprise thing and usually it's the baby inside the king cake.
Right.
Well, last year the surprise was a porta potty. First time ever being done. So
hey, you still getting recruited, dog. I love it.
Yeah, that's a big account. That's a $100 million account. So that's an account I definitely want.
Yeah, you gotta get that. We'll work on that. Hey, when you're in town, hit us up. We'll get you in studio. We'll hang out. We'll go to dinner, do something. I'm fired up for y'all. I'm fired up for the season.
Maybe you'll throw a pass in Baton Rouge for the first time.
Man, that's one thing Miles could have let me do.
Just one.
Hey, Terrence McGee throw that thing. Spencer Ware chucked one up.
Bro, I threw one in the NFL. Right?
Yeah, you did. Hey, you did. And you also caught one from Odell in the NFL.
Like, come on, bro.
I know. Hey, Shep, I appreciate you, man. Take it easy, bro. We'll stay in touch, and we'll have you back on. I appreciate it.
Good stuff, bro.
All right, fellas.
Thank you.